Hi, thank you for stopping by. I'm going to read this story called If I Lived Alone. This is where I live. My mommy and daddy live here. My big sister Frida and little brother Roger live here. Sometimes it's noisy in my house. Sometimes it's crowded in my house. Sometimes I have to be quiet because Roger is asleep. Sometimes I wished I lived alone. If I lived alone, I could have a room all to myself and everything in it would be mine. I could sit quietly all by myself, or I could make as much noise as I wanted whenever I wanted to. But if I lived alone, I wouldn't have anyone to talk to when it rains and thunders. If I lived alone, I could eat chocolate ice cream for breakfast, vanilla ice cream for lunch, and strawberry ice cream for dinner. And I could eat as much as I wanted. But if I lived alone, I wouldn't get to have any of Daddy's super duper flip-flop flapjacks. If I lived alone, I wouldn't have to share my toys and books. But if I lived alone, who would read to me? If I lived alone, I could stay up as late as I wanted to. But if I lived alone, who would hug me and kiss me and tuck me in bed? If I lived alone, I wouldn't have to help set the table or pick up my toys or do anything I didn't want to do. But if I lived alone, who would help me tie my shoelaces? And who would put a bandage on my knee if I fell down? If I lived alone, who would play baseball with Daddy? Who would help him weed the garden? If I lived alone, who would help Mommy with her sculpture? Who would talk to her when she takes Roger for a walk? If I lived alone, who would listen to Frida's secrets? Who would share Roger's crackers? I guess I can't live alone, because if I lived alone, everyone would be lonely. The end. Thank you.